Want to know why? Ask how. Howard, the humongous. In Greensboro, North Carolina, on Friday, October 14th, 2016, Donald Trump supporters made some shocking statements. And Donald Trump made statements even more disturbing. In fact, they seemed to be paranoid delusions. But here's the problem. If you are a Democrat, you'll see these paranoid visions behind Trump's movement, the ones that I'm about to read you from his speech, as the most serious threat to American democracy in our lifetime. But if you are a Republican, you may well see these visions as the stone-cold truth. Here's what Trump supporters had to say, and to me, it is frightening. Some have said that Hillary Clinton should be hanged or assassinated. One man, Dan Bowman, a 50-year-old North Carolina contractor, said, quote, "If she's in office, I hope we can start a coup. She should be in prison or shot. That's how I feel about it. We're going to have a revolution and take them out of office if that's what it takes. There's going to be a lot of bloodshed, but that's what it's going to take. I would do whatever I can for my country." Is this man a patriot, or is he a danger, a serial shooter in the making? Janine Bell Smith, a 65-year-old long-term teacher at the Greensboro, North Carolina rally for Trump, said, "We can't have that lying bitch in the White House." A Donald Trump supporter in Portsmouth, New Hampshire said, "I think Hillary is one of the most villainous people on earth." But back to Greensboro, North Carolina. Judy Wright said, "If Hillary wins, it's rigged. All I know is our country is not going to be a country anymore." I've heard people talk about a revolution. I've heard people talk about separation of states. I don't even like to think about it, but I don't think this movement is going away. We don't have a voice anymore, and Donald Trump is that voice. What's the voice that Donald Trump is giving to his gun-toting supporters? It's a picture of a conspiracy, a global conspiracy, a conspiracy against you. Here are the words of Donald Trump on what this election means. "Our movement," he says, "is about replacing a failed and corrupt," now when I say corrupt, I'm talking about totally corrupt, political establishment, with a new government controlled by you, the American people. There is nothing the political establishment will not do, no lie that they won't tell to hold their prestige and power at your expense. The Washington establishment and the financial and media corporations that fund it exist for only one reason: to protect and enrich itself. The establishment has trillions of dollars at stake in this election. The media is indeed sick, and it's making our country sick, and we're going to stop it. Our campaign represents a true existential threat like they haven't seen before. This is not simply another 4-year election. This is a crossroads in the history of our civilization that will determine whether or not we, the people, reclaim control over our government. The political establishment that is trying to stop us is the same group responsible for our disastrous trade deals, massive illegal immigration, and economic and foreign policies that have bled our country dry. The political establishment has brought about the destruction of our factories and our jobs as they flee to Mexico, China, and other countries all around the world. Our just-announced job numbers are anemic. Our gross domestic product, our GDP, is barely above 1%, and it's going down. Workers in the United States are making less than they were almost 20 years ago. Now let me stop Trump's words for a minute. Let me break in. Donald Trump has just done something that is in his unending ignorance he doesn't realize. He has endorsed Bill Clinton. Why? He says workers in America and the United States are making less than they were almost 20 years ago. And he's right. The highest level of household income in American history was approximately 20 years ago. And guess who was president when that highest level of household income was achieved? It was Bill Clinton. In other words, the high standards of previous American success and prosperousness, wealth, that Donald Trump is saying he will bring back is the wealth of the Clinton era. The wealth when Bill Clinton created 23 million new jobs. That's twice as many jobs as the god of Republicans, Ronald Reagan, created. Wait a minute. But, okay, under Bill Clinton, the golden era of Bill Clinton that Donald Trump is alluding to without telling you, that's what it was. We not only balanced our budget, we ran a trade surplus. All of that happened under what Donald Trump likes to call the Clinton machine. But back to Donald Trump's astonishing words, if I can find them. Donald says that a global power structure is responsible for the economic decisions that have robbed our working class, stripped our country of its wealth, and put that money into the pockets of a handful of large corporations and political entities. Now, wait a minute. So I've got to break in again here. Actually, the sin of stripping our country of its wealth happened in 2008 in the Great Recession, when our economy lost trillions of dollars in value. And that did not take place under the Clintons. That did not take place under Democrats. The Great Recession took place under George Bush, a Republican. It took place under the very policies that Donald Trump says he will return us to. Back to Donald Trump. Just look at what this corrupt establishment has done to our cities, like Detroit and Flint, Michigan. Okay, let me break in again. The Flint, Michigan water disaster took place when a Republican governor seized control of the city of Flint and operated its government under a Republican dictatorial, non-elected administrator. A Republican administrator. But back to Trump, who says we should look at what this corrupt establishment has done to, quote, rural towns in Pennsylvania, Ohio, North Carolina, and all across our country. Take a look, says Trump, at what's going on. They stripped away these towns bare and raided the wealth for themselves and have taken our jobs away out of our country, never to return unless, says Donald Trump, I am elected president. Unless I, Donald Trump, am elected president. I am the magical Messiah. I am your savior, says Donald Trump. Back to his quotes. The Clinton machine is at the center of this power structure, with their control over our government at stake, with trillions of dollars on the line. The Clinton machine is determined to achieve the destruction of our campaign. Not gonna happen. Which has now become a great, great movement, the likes of which our country has never seen before. Never, never. This election will determine whether we are a free nation or whether we have only the illusion of democracy. But whether we are in fact controlled by a small handful of global special interests rigging the system. And our system is rigged, says Donald Trump. They will attack you, says Donald. They will slander you. They will seek to destroy your career and your family. They will seek to destroy everything about you, including your reputation. They will lie, 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 and then again they will do worse than that. They will do whatever is necessary. The Clintons are criminals. Remember that. They are criminals, says Donald Trump. This is well documented. Now, wait a minute. Actually, the fantasy that the Clintons are criminals has been created by a Get the Clintons conspiracy on the right that started with Richard Mellon Scaife, the heir to the Mellon fortune. It started with his investment of $2.5 million in what he called the Arkansas Project. That was a project to nail the Clintons for something, anything. It didn't matter what, as long as you could nail them, as long as you could give them their own Watergate. That project was augmented with $7.5 million for another Crucify the Clintons industry called Judicial Watch. That total of $10 million was just the start to create a Nail the Clintons industry. It is hard to tell just how much has been invested since then, but the billionaire Republican donors who funded this Get the Clintons at Whatever Cost campaign never anticipated something. That their smear campaign would produce a presidential candidate they hate, Donald Trump. Now back to Trump's words. He talks about the establishment that protects the Clintons has engaged in a massive cover-up of widespread criminal activity at the State Department and the Clinton Foundation in order to keep the Clintons in power. Never in history have we seen such a cover-up as this. ISIS was created in the vacuum left by Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama out of Iraq. Now wait, let's get down to some real facts for a minute. ISIS was created in the vacuum left when George Bush agreed to withdraw American forces from Iraq because he had failed to get a status of forces agreement from the Iraqi government. And Bush failed to get that status of forces agreement because the Iranians were manipulating the Iraqi prime minister like a puppet and wanted us out of Iraq. They were also manipulating us. Okay, let's get back to Donald Trump and his latest. So this did not take place under Clinton, Hillary Clinton, and it did not take place under Barack Obama. The vacuum that led to ISIS took place under a Republican administration following many of the same policies that Donald Trump wants to follow. Remember something. Trump talks about, he sells you on big visions. Then what does he deliver? Old, stale Republican policies that the Republican Party has been following for 145 years. Back to the words of Donald Trump, if we can find them. Yes, here they are. Says Donald Trump about himself, making himself out to be the Jesus Christ of America and American nationalism. Quote, I take all of these slings and arrows gladly for you. I take them for our movement so that we can have our country back. Our great civilization here in America and across the civilized world has come upon a moment of reckoning. Many of my friends and many political experts warned me that this campaign would be a journey to hell, but they're wrong. It will be a journey to heaven, because we will help so many people that are so desperately in need of help. In my former life, says Donald, I was an insider as much as anybody else, and I knew what it's like. And I still know what it's like to be an insider. It's not bad. It's not bad. Now I'm being punished for leaving the special club and revealing to you the terrible things that are going on having to do with our country. Because I used to be part of the club, I'm the only one that can fix it. The corrupt establishment knows that we are a great threat to their criminal enterprise. They know that if we win, their power is gone, and it's returned to you, the people. The dark clouds hanging over our government can be lifted and replaced with a bright future. But it all depends, says Donald, on whether we let the corrupt media decide our future or whether we let the American people decide our future. It's a movement the likes of which we have never in history in this country seen before, never in history. They betrayed our workers. They betrayed our borders. And most of all, they betrayed our freedoms. We will save our sovereign rights as a nation. We will end the politics of profit. We will end the rule of special interests. We will end the raiding of our jobs by other countries. We will end the total disenfranchisement of the American voter and the American worker. Our Independence Day is at hand, and it arrives finally on November 8th, Join me, says Donald Trump, in taking back our country and creating a bright, glorious, and prosperous new future for our people. We will make America great again, and it will happen quickly. Is Donald Trump telling the truth? Or is he delusional? Is he literally delusional? Is he a con man selling an illusion to the American people, an illusion of hope? Or is he the greatest truth teller on the face of the earth? That's up to you to decide. This is Howard the Humongous speaking to you from the future. It's your job and my job to make. Or, want to know why? Ask how. And now for that ridiculous little, I totally failed to find it a few minutes ago, that ridiculous little off button. I've got it.